It's CEO here, and in my previous video introducing you to all 18 new villagers coming to New Horizons, I thought there were just 4 villagers returning from Animal Crossing GameCube, but then I found out from you in the comments that there are actually 8 GameCube villagers returning. All these villagers appeared in the very first editions of Animal Crossing. The first 4 Animal Crossing games released are all technically the same game, just with minor updates and ported onto 2 different Nintendo consoles. So let's do a quick rundown of these 4 games, so once I introduce you to the villagers and tell you what Animal Crossing games they appeared in, it will make more sense to you. The very first Animal Crossing game was called Animal Forest for the N64. This game was only in Japan and came out in April 2001. The game did so well that Nintendo made an enhanced edition of Animal Forest, but remade for GameCube, and was called Animal Forest Plus, and this game came out in December of 2001, the same year as the first Animal Crossing game. Then Animal Forest Plus did so well that Nintendo wanted it to be on GameCube but in English for North America. That game was called Animal Crossing Population Growing and was the US version of Animal Forest Plus, and came out in September of 2002. Nintendo saw how well the Animal Crossing GameCube version for North America did. They made an updated version called Animal Forest E Plus that was also on the GameCube, but this was a Japan exclusive update and was released in June 2003. So all these 4 games are the same game, just built upon with minor updates. It's a little confusing, but once you write it all out, it does make sense, and follows along Nintendo's weird pattern of naming games and consoles. First up, we have Fret, who is a cranky dog villager. He appea+, in Animal Forest E+, and now he'll be in New Horizons. His Japanese name translated to Champagne, which is based on his yellow color of fur. In this case, it makes sense that Nintendo changed his name from Champagne to Fret, because they didn't want any references of alcohol to be in Animal Crossing. The next returning villager is Ace, who is a jock bird. He did not have his name changed, but his name is in reference to Flying Ace, which is a term for an accomplished pilot. His Japanese name, Feza, translates to feather, which makes sense because he's a bird. Ace appeared in Animal Forest Plus, Animal Crossing for GameCube, Animal Forest E+, and now New Horizons. Next, we have Chadwick, whose Japanese name is Nobuo. He's a penguin, but we don't know his personality, even though he did appear in a previous Animal Crossing game. Chadwick did appear in Animal Crossing E+, but not as a default villager. You can only move him to your town using his e-reader card, which is kind of like a retro Amiibo card. Next up, we have Zoe, whose Japanese name translates to rice vermicelli, which is a type of noodle. Zoe is a normal anteater and appeared in Animal Forest Plus, Animal Crossing GameCube, Animal Forest E+, and New Horizons. Rio is a peppy ostrich who didn't have a name change. However, Rio's name is based on Rio de Janeiro, a city in Brazil who hosts extravagant carnivals. Rio also represents a raidai, an ostrich-like bird that is native to Brazil. Rio appeared in Animal Forest Plus, Animal Crossing GameCube, Animal Forest E+, and New Horizons. Next we have Azealia, who is a snooty rhino. Azelia's previous name was Petunia. Both her current and previous names are in references to flowers, which we can assume stems from her design, where she has a flower on her nose surrounding her horn. She even wears a flower dress in New Horizons. Azealia first appeared in Animal Forest E+, and now New Horizons. Roswell is a lazy alligator whose previous name was Piran Khan. We don't know much about him, but he was in Animal Forest E+, and now in New Horizons. And lastly, we have Faith, whose name has always been Faith. She is a normal koala and appeared in Animal Forest Plus, Animal Crossing GameCube, Animal Forest E+, and New Horizons. I am pleasantly surprised that Nintendo is bringing back 8 new villagers from the first Animal Crossing games. GameCube players are rejoicing that some of their faves are back, while new players are getting a taste from Animal Crossing's past. All these villagers will be part of the Series 5 Amiibo set, releasing on November 5th. If you want to get your hands on these villagers, you'll have to act fast and be on top of pre-orders online and when physical stores put the cards out on the floor for sale. I highly recommend going to stores like Target, Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop, or EB Games the day before to ask if they have any cards they can sell to you early, and if not, what time the cards will be put on the floor for sale on November 5th. Sometimes they'll talk to a really nice employee who will sell you the cards early. In my personal experience, that has happened to me, so it could also happen to you. But it really depends on the store and who you happen to run into. Let me know in the comments which villager that's returning from the first Animal Crossing games you want to move onto your island. My favorite returning villager is Azealia because I love her coloring, she's a nice teal color, and I love how the flower pattern integrates with her character design. Her horn even looks like the yellow center of flowers. The Animal Crossing 2.0 update is coming out very soon. yet it feels like we have to wait an eternity. But once it's here, it's going to be an insane, super fun, amazing time in the Animal Crossing community, and I cannot wait for it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.